This is festivalPass Stories, a podcast series is told by the people who create and make festivals come to life. You will go behind the stage, kitchen, or studio door to hear the stories of passion and inspiration that started some of the world's most beloved festivals. Hear the startup stories and how an idea went from what if to what's next. All right, friends, welcome back to festivalPass Stories. Today, we take you behind the studio door for, in my opinion, the most glamorous of all the festivals, the Film Festival, with the artistic director of Dallas Film and Dallas International Film Festival. Please say hello to James Faust. James, what is going on, my man?
How you doing, everybody? It's going well. You know, healthy, not wealthy, but semi-wise. All good.
I was saying for the new year, I was sending out congratulations or New Year's greetings, and I was saying healthy and happy New Year, and in that order, like I can be happy as long as I'm healthy.
Yeah.
I think we all realize how important and most important thing is the health.
Yeah.
I think when we were younger men, when something didn't work out for you in like your 20s, somebody would say, well, hey, at least have your health. You're like, you know what, man? I don't care about that. Now you're like, you know what? Yeah, you're right.
Health is good.
I know the deal didn't close. I know I didn't get the part that I wanted in that show or whatever. It's fine.
Yeah. I'm breathing on my own. I'm good.
You broke my heart. That's fine. I'm healthy. Yeah. It's okay. It actually could be much worse. So
yes. Yeah.
To all
We're
of
much
us,
more appreciative.
To all of us, to those who take care of us, of course, and to our own health. So cheers to 2021. And I would say this, not only are film festivals the most glamorous ones, but your title is the most glamorous of all of the titles of those of a festival, besides award winner, I guess. But you're the artistic director. However, you've been at Dallas Film since it used to be called AFI Dallas in the nascent days of 2006. And I'm sure you would agree that there is nothing glamorous about the work of starting a film festival.
No, it's actually in our early beginnings, there was a bit of glamour. It was sort of an upset, like I said, why we get bombed by foreign powers kind of story, how great American story it was. Right. When we first started, we had a little festival called the Deep Ellum Film Festival. And Deep Ellum is a little area in Dallas, Texas, downtown Dallas. And just off to the side, there's this sort of music underground area that we started a film festival that was actually a cancer charity. Our founder at the time, Michael Caine, not that Michael Caine, but Dallas's Michael Caine. His father was sick with pancreatic cancer, and he met another woman who ended up being his wife, Melina, and her mother was sick as well. And so both their parents passed away, and as an honor, they went through this process of realizing, and cancer sucks, and how do we take care of people who are suffering, not so much research. So the Deep Ellum Film Festival, Michael was a film producer, graduated from AFI. And he said, you know what, I want to help people and show movies. So our festival was a charity. We raised money through film ticket sales and sponsorships to put the festival on as a fundraiser to give money back to people suffering with cancer, not to research, but to buy groceries and things like that, pay your mortgage or silly things like electric bills, car notes. Yeah.
All those silly things that people don't realize when you can't go to work, all of a sudden that's dried out. And you still, I think we all learned this during the pandemic, that you may be laid off or you may not have the income that you had, but guess who still wants their money? Yeah. The lease company for your car, your landlord.
Exactly.
You got to eat.
That was the niche. Yeah, that was the niche we found, and it went really well. And we became really popular. There was about 3 other film festivals in the Dallas-Fort Worth area at the time. And like I said before, Michael was a graduate of AFI in LA, was commencement speaker and everything. And he went out to LA to pitch them an idea to bring AFI school to Dallas. He's like, I want to bring a school here. And one of the board members of AFI, Todd Wagner, I don't know if you remember, Todd Wagner is Mark Cuban's partner on pretty much everything but the Mavericks. So Wagner Cuban they were the company that came together, became billionaires together. Met with Wagner and they said, hey, you should talk to this guy, Lanier Timmerland. Lanier Timmerland was this old advertising legend who was also on the board, who created the AFI top 50 list. And he said, oh, you ever seen that commercial back in the day, you'll love this because you're in New York, the Pace Picante commercial. They go, where are you from?
Yeah.
New York City. New York City. He wrote that. So this guy is
the salsa.
the
Salsa's
Pace
made in
Picante. New York City. Get a rope. That whole thing. It was so.
And
this guy,
none of us were offended by that. We're like, we don't make a word. We should not be known for salsa.
But definitely
dancing,
pasta.
maybe dancing, but
pasta and pizza.
Not the topping.
No.
Dip.
So that was they said they all got together and said, instead of a school, let's do a film festival like they have at AFI. And so that was about 2006. That was 2005 when that started, and we started into a contract with AFI and the city of Dallas said, hey, we'd like to help with this because we want to build a city festival Dallas is one of the top 5 markets in the world, in the country. And we're like, this is something that needs a city film festival. And so we worked with the city of Dallas, worked with the state of Texas. We already had South by Southwest in Austin, but they needed another sort of gym type thing in the north part of the state. Okay. And that's where we came in. So 2006, we signed the contract and became the AFI Dallas International Film Festival, from this small little cancer charity to now we're this, at the time, multi-million-dollar film festival that was sponsored by Target and a bunch of friendly, Ross Perot's son, actually, if you remember Ross Perot, his son was developing a certain part of town. And so now we were the AFI Dallas International Film Festival, presented by Target, founding sponsor, Victory Park, which a Ross Perot company. And so
So I would ask you, normally in a startup, so how were those salad days? You're like, well, the salad had grilled shrimp and grilled salmon on it, so it was actually pretty good.
Yeah, it was. Oh man, it was grilled shrimp with the best dip you could ever imagine. I mean, those early days were great. I mean, it was, like I said, 2006, 2007. The economy was good. It was all new, and we got everything we wanted, and we had great sponsors, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful time. I mean, it was ridiculous. I look back at it now and think, man, it's just, the offices were incredible. I mean, it was just this an insane opulence at the time, because again, the economy worldwide was in a good place. Yeah. And then, and so we went as AFI Dallas for 3 years. It was a 3-year contract with them and Target. And it was a good run. I mean, we had our first year, I think we ran 185 films our first year. And then Lanier Timmerland, our co-founder at the time, Michael, got together and said, we need more. And at that time, I was just a senior programmer. I'd brought over from Deep Ellum, and I was a producer of commercials and other things in Dallas. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do this festival thing full time. And then they rolled up and said, well, we can pay you this and you can still do that other stuff. And I get to travel around the world watching movies. Like, I'll take that gig. I will take that gig.
Okay, who's punking me right now? What's going on?
Yeah, exactly. Like, who turns this down? I don't see this as being a problem. And I wanted to do something for the city. I love my city. And we have an opportunity. It was such an international city. And I said, we need to, play on this. We need to lean into this international thing. Yeah. And so that's where the AFI Dallas International Film Festival, we were showing 185 films that first year. And I'd say 60 of them. Yeah, no, it was 52 the first year. I remember that because I was thinking we got to get over 50. 52 are from around the world. And those were just the features. And then the next year we were 260 films.
Amazing. So how do you turn that around so quickly and go from being this charitable festival to an international film festival almost overnight? And I know you had some resources to do that, but you were going out there and getting these films. How right away do you pick up a call to a director or a producer and say, I've got a new film festival, we want your film? And they're like, we've never heard of you, click. Was it more like, we've got Ross Perot behind this, we've got Target, we've got money, this is the real deal, we're going to have, this is the 5th biggest market in the United States, you got to be here?
Yes. It was literally having the funds to go, because I remember when we first started in 2006, we had to get going for 2007. So 7 was the first festival. And so we're in the middle of the summer. So having the AFI name, which is internationally known, and their festival at that time had been around for like 17 or 18 years. And the AFI had been around since 1969 or 68, something like that. So that was a brand that was known. And all of a sudden they branched out to Dallas. And so there's this AFI brand on Dallas. Like, oh, so we got some legitimacy really fast. And then you throw in the resources. We were offering cash prizes of $50,000 for awards. So we had that kind of makes
will attract some people right away.
Yeah, you can. Oh, then it was fun. These are for films that did not have distribution. So we were getting Sundance style films from people who were going, wait, whoa. We can actually pay back some people if we win this film festival. Like, yes,
we
you
might
could.
be able to get out of debt. The dream of being even, the true American dream, just back to zero.
So that helped out a lot. The $50,000 cash prizes, the AFI name going on it, and then just Michael and myself and our staff at the time, we just really, really were passionate about the city and finding a ways to expand that. So when we would go to other festivals, like for instance, our festival was until March of 2007. We again started this whole process in the summer of 2006, and there are a bunch of after Cannes, but that year we went to Toronto and we threw a big AFI party at Toronto. So all AFI in LA, AFI Dallas, and AFI Silver Docs, which is the documentary festival in the DC area, all got together. We threw one big coming out party, and then we did the same thing at Sundance. And then we did the same thing at the Palm Springs Film Festival. And then we did the same thing at South by Southwest right before us, like 2 weeks before us. And then all of a sudden, here we are. And so we came on pretty big. And then we had a good sponsorship with American Airlines at the time. And they were American Airlines is based here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And so we were on all their planes. Like if you picked up American Way, there was an ad for the AFI Dallas International Film Festival.
That's amazing.
In the magazine.
And
so marketing was big.
Flights and you're like, this is you should check this out. I'm telling you, these guys are the real deal.
Oh yeah, I would pull the book out and just turn it, and all the cameras like, I don't know why it's open to the same page every seat.
Excuse me, flight attendant. Do you know anything more about this Dallas AFI Film Festival? Do you know? Does anyone know anything about this? I'd love to go. I'd love to hear more. What if they have cash prizes?
Sir, could you stop harassing?
Can you please get off the loudspeaker, sir? Please.
Yeah.
That is the intercom for us only. You are in violation of international
fine.
But money is fine and having all of that. But the goal here, I mean, you guys are a 501c3.
Yeah.
The real goal, you say you love your city. So it was about bringing this other side to Dallas, bringing this art form to Dallas.
Yeah.
That seemed to be the bigger goal, right?
Yeah, it was. I mean, because the thing is, Dallas is, Texas at one point was called the Third Coast in the 90s because there were so many people shooting films here because you could do, I can go down to the coast and do water things. I can go to the hill country and do mountains. There's a desert here too. And then there's Houston, Dallas, Austin with these cityscapes, San Antonio. So at that point, and so there's a lot of production going on here. I worked on Walker, Texas Ranger for about 2.5 years when I got out of college. I was working with, he was as an electrician in a grip, and then moved into commercials, and there was a lot of TV. Dallas has shot 2 iterations here with the original and then the other one. Walker was big. There was a lot of things happening here, and still is. But the fact that there wasn't a large international film festival. There were other film festivals here that were even older, but have sort of fallen off a little bit and had not kept up with what was going on in the world. And Michael and I had been to other film festivals and sat on juries and things, and we thought, you know what, we can bring that here. And so sharing what Dallas had to offer, and the city was ready for it. I mean, it was first couple of years, it was incredible how we were building a new film community like they'd done in Austin. Like, hey, we need people to be ravenous about this, and so we need to start this now. And and it was like here that we're just starving for it. I could tell because I was a part of it. Man, we were showing movies in bars, for crying out loud. Like, let's put a screen up in a bar. Yeah, wouldn't it be great if this is a movie theater doing the same type of movie and had seats and actual popcorn and not, popcorn with beer fuzz in it, which I like beer, but beer fuzz I don't. So
no beer fuzz.
No beer fuzz.
If there's one thing we can say about 2021 is when we get back to bars, can we stop the beer fuzz? Can we just keep it out?
I'm going to new 501(c) right there.
I think that would work. So you were saying, and you work with other festivals, you were on boards and panels and so on, but you worked with the Asian Film Festival of Dallas, the Austin Film Festival, and then there was the Texas Black Film Festival.
Yeah.
Did you take a little bit from all of those and bring it into AFI Dallas?
Yeah. So one of the things that we did, we like to say is there were a lot of festivals starting to build up. And once this thing's kicked off, like, holy crap, There's a niche. There was a Latino festival. There was a Black festival. There were two gay festivals. I guess there was a Western festival, a South Asian festival. And so we're thinking, you know what, let's get everybody on the same page. So what we started was a community partner program in which AFI Dallas, during our festival, we will give every other festival and other partner groups in town, where there's the World Cinema Society or the Dallas Zoo, even, like, hey, we want to give you guys an opportunity to spread your word. So as long as we're co-competitors, we'll never be competitors in this situation, because we're only going for hearts and minds and not dollars at this point.
Co-competitors. I'm not sure if I've ever heard the term co-competitors.
Yeah, it's on our wall in our old offices. Somebody painted it, and we moved out of that office. So I hope that's still up. But yeah, co-competitors is our thing. So we all want to work together to make this a better place, so people can get off it's all big hairs and cowboys in the city. And so we all work together. So everybody had a voice within our festival. Okay, you guys get these 5 films. You think these are cool. So you get to go, not only do you get to present the film, speak about your organization before it, your name will be on it in the program and on the website, and you get to host the Q&A if the filmmakers are here as well. So it's a good opportunity for us to spread the diversity that the city had. And so that's how that program started. And so with that, the opposite would happen. They started inviting us. Like, yeah, I'd love to go to the Asian Film Festival and talk to you guys. And if they didn't have the budget, and we did, to send me, like I was going to Cannes or I was going to Belgium or something, like, I'm watching this movie in Toronto right now that I think it'd be great for you guys. It might, because your festival's a different time of year, might not be good for us. You could do it, or you can support it at our festival, and then we could talk. So that's how I ended up being on these other advisory councils and boards. And Texas Black was something I always wanted to do, and then somebody I never heard of decided. He was actually Charlie Pride's lawyer, and he wanted to do, and he was Erykah Badu's lawyer, and he did all these things. I want to make a film festival that was about Black films.
Rest in peace, Charlie Pride, by the way. That was recent.
Yeah, that was recent. Yeah.
So many music icons.
Man, yeah.
Another tough year for that.
Yeah. But it was tough.
But he helped you out with this?
Yeah, his name was David Small, and he said, yeah, man, we're going to make this film festival. I'm like, okay. I told him, I want to help you. And so I used,
how you approach. This was your idea, something you want to get off the ground. And you tell David, you're like, I want to help you with this. And that's a Jedi move. That's awesome.
I did. It is. Well, I just wanted, like, this needs to happen. And I don't have the time to put all 100% into this, but you do. And whatever I can do with the time I do have. And he did it. He ran it for, it was about 6-7 years of a good run before he just had life things that happened, and he was a one-man show. And so it exists on paper, but it doesn't exist as a full-fledged film festival. But then someone else stepped in, the Denton Black Film Festival, which is just north of Dallas, where University of North Texas is located, big college town. And they've stepped in admirably to be an amazing festival. It's going on to its 6th year. This month. Wow, this month. Next in 2 weeks. Yeah.
And now it's called the Denton Film Festival, or is it still the Texas Black Film Festival?
Texas Black is a separate organization, and they sort of on hiatus. They'll do some promotional online things, but they don't actually have a physical festival, not even online festival. Whereas Denton Black has filled the void of a Black film festival in the North Texas, actually in the state of Texas, for that matter. And so, they're really great. They're a good organization. And these are our partners. We work with them. We talk. I was just yesterday trading logos. Okay, here's our logo you can put on. So we're going to support your festival. And then when we happen in the summer, they're going to go, okay, we're going to do these movies. What do you need us to do? Promote it through your land. So it's how we get the word out. Co-competitors, Pat. Co-competitors.
Co-competitors. I was looking for a new tattoo. I think co-competitors might be would also be my first tattoo. So
okay, that's good. Co-competitors.
Co-competitors. Yeah, it's all. We need a whole new section of the dictionary for the words we've made up the last couple of years, and put a hashtag in front of it, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Co-competitors, and so on. But talking about this festival coming up, you said, wow, this one's coming up in another week or so, but or next month. And obviously last year was one to obviously forget. And people had to get creative with festivals, film festivals, and so on. And I know that you guys got creative. I saw that you had your drive-in summer film not film festival, but a series.
Yeah.
Which was obviously successful, and you had Samsung underwrite it. So, well done with that. But
Thanks.
Were you able to take the actual now Dallas International Film Festival virtual? Was it something you just said, we can't really do this thing on the full scale virtually? Or were you at least able to continue with with your screenwriter competition or parts of the festival virtually?
We were reticent to shut the thing down officially. And so a postponement was what we called it. And just before we postponed, we were to send out the rest of our "you didn't make it into the festival" letters, because we programmed the entire festival. Like, all right, we have 2 film slots left. So everybody who's in knows they're in. Everybody who's out, not everybody, only 50% of the people knew that they were out. And so we had to send out a few more no's. Like, how many few? Oh, about 2,000.
Wow. So how many submissions do you get?
We get anywhere from, depending on the year, honestly, 1,500 to 3,000 submissions.
Unbelievable.
And and that's included in things that are given to us, and then they're submitted on the Film Freeway platform, and things that I go when I'm going to other festivals, and I do 20 film festivals. I do 20 films at a festival or something, and I go, oh wow, we just saw 20 movies. My head is blowing up. How many days? Like 6 days. What? Yeah, I know. I had parties too.
You invented binge watching.
Yeah,
you're the guy. You invented co-partnering or co-partnering, and you invented binge watching. I didn't even realize you did.
I knew I was in for a hard day. It was my very first Toronto Film Festival when I was really new into the international festival world. I'm like, I don't understand how this happens. And a guy who was there sitting in front of me, he said he was from Texas. He's now a friend of mine, Ryan Piers Williams. He's also he's married to America Ferrera. And he was sitting there in front, and he starts talking about how many movies he'd seen that day. And I'm thinking, he said he'd seen 6 films. I go, how do you see 6 movies in a day? That doesn't make sense. And he goes, well, you start at 8 a.m. and you end at the midnight film. And he goes, and he still had time for lunch and dinner. And how do you, I'm not doing this right. Or maybe I'm doing it right because I'm not tired and sleeping during a film. I don't know. So yeah, the binge watching is a good day at Sundance for me is 4 to 5 films, and a day when I just don't care about it. I'm feeling like I want to set a record is I've done 7 in a day without walking out. It lucked out.
And you got to take notes in between or something, or you'll forget what you saw. You're like, what? I saw everything today. So I imagine
I don't take notes.
Don't take notes.
I don't take notes I go back and I'll look at the when I get home, I'll look at the book, the guide, or go online, look at the guide and think, oh yeah, that movie, I remember that. And then I'll record what I thought about it. But during the process, I'll let it all, if it's a great film, I'll remember it. That's always been my thing. When it's a good movie, I don't forget it.
That's true. That's pretty true about any movie or any song. You're like, it's sticking with me. I keep seeing it. I keep hearing it.
So we were able to do parts of the film. So we made a decision. Look, we have this series planned for drive-ins anyway. But before that, we decided we're going to test an online service. So we have a high school program. We work with about 40 different high schools in the North Texas area. And we do a high school gallery show. We're like, okay, and the kids get to come and they get passes and they get to go show their films in the theater. Well, we took that online and we did an online voting, and it was really successful. We recorded it on Vimeo and we shot it through Facebook, and we were shocked. It's like, man, we had 300,000 views today. Like, what? Yeah. How's that possible for high school films? Like, how is that possible? That's pretty ridiculous. And so that was a really successful thing. So we did it again with short films. And I was like, that's great. And then we moved into our summer series, which is all retro stuff, classic summer family things that Samsung wanted. And at the end of it, we convinced Samsung to go and be part of our festival. So we took 4 films from the film festival that we were going to show, and we took them outside. So a short block of Texas shorts, and then we did some other films that were going to be released. One was actually just released on Showtime before we did it. We're like, well, are we going to still do this? Yeah, we're going to still do this. It was a documentary about women going into Congress, and it was seemed timely at the time. It was September. We're like, yeah, we've got some votes coming up. It should be a good time to show this thing.
Small election happening?
Yeah, a little bit. And then the other one was a couple of double features, some horror films, sci-fi films, and things that we're going to be showing in our midnight and our action comedy sections. So yeah, it worked out. They did some films like that. Then things just got frankly, trying to navigate COVID waters, even with the drive-in, became difficult with our locations. So we were having a hard time going, okay, we're going to do a drive-in this area right here. Yeah, but that area's got this kind of curfew, and we got to be sure that it started becoming cost effective. Like, we can't continue this series. I don't think we can finish off the festival the way we want to do it safely and, financially sound. So we probably did 7 films that we were planning on doing 20, and it just didn't happen. But we are offering our filmmakers from last year, like, look, if you're still out there for the next you're on board for 2021. You can come back. We would love to have you. Tribeca did the same thing. Like, if you're out there, you haven't seen, we'll take you back for a special section at the 2021 festival.
You're going to do the drive-in again this summer.
We're doing the drive-in. So our 2021 fest is going to be on 3 levels. It's going to be like 3D chess. We're going to have an online section. We're going to have a drive-in part of the film festival, and we're also going to do in person, because it's not till late June, early July. So we're hoping by then, vaccine, the world's in a better place by that time. But we're still prepping to move everything online if we have to. But fingers crossed that we're going to be out there doing it all 3 ways in July.
I was going to say, because on your website right now, it proudly says July 25th or June 25th to July 2nd, 15th annual Dallas International Film Festival. And it doesn't say virtually, it doesn't say hybrid. It just gives you the opportunity to buy that global pass, which is pretty cool, to be like a super VIP for $5,000, I believe. You can be you can just
that's a lifetime pass
off and just have one of those VIP passes and walk into everything from now until the end of whatever
time.
So there you go, folks. You can go to the website and buy one of those right now if you want, or buy tickets. But you seem pretty confident that this is, as you said, you're like preparing for all these scenarios, but you're ready to get people back into theaters. I know we all are. But you're feeling like maybe late June, July. I love this.
Yeah, I mean, I think the same, like Tribeca Film Festival is usually in April. They're usually on top of each other. They're in late April into May or early April to May. And so we're usually bashing each other. And so they did the same thing. They moved their festival into June. And so they're going to in New York in June. So they've got the same attitude. It's not like we're following suit. We're just thinking, how do we stay the course? I know a lot of other festivals, like Sundance starts in 2 weeks, 22 days exactly. And so 3 weeks. And they're not completely virtual. They're virtual through Sundance, but they're doing a bespoke, as they call it, festival throughout the country, 33 different locations during drive-in and in-person theaters. In Dallas, there's one in-person theater, the Texas Theater, they're doing it. And in Austin, they're doing all outside with Alamo Drafthouse and Austin Film Society. We don't even want to, so they made a choice because they had to. We have time to watch things and take in submissions and go, we are ready to go either way, but we would like to put people in theaters as best we can safely.
Yeah, because you've got some money that you need to give away as well. How much have you given away in cash and prizes? Is it over $2 million so far?
Yeah, I think close to 2 million. I think it's like 1.8, 1.9 million in cash and prizes. I mean, we give away a Texas prize of $30,000 every year for camera equipment. So that's an in-kind. Oh. So if you win the Texas, you get a $30,000 camera package to shoot your next film. Or one time, TXU sponsored for 5 years in a row high school and college kids by giving them $5,000 each for their winning in their film. So we had 3 winners. I always thought it was kind of weird. Like, there's 3 winners, but everybody gets the same amount of money. Yeah. Okay. That's America in 2016. So that kind of put it up. And then I think the target prize money was with us for 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through 2011. We had target cash prizes of $25,000 to $50,000. So those added up for a while. But the other stuff, and one of the things I'm really proud about that we're bringing back this year is, especially makes a lot of sense right now, social justice. We had a humanitarian award called the Silver Heart Award from the Embry Foundation, one of our board members, and she funds, she is a entrepreneur family that does a lot of work in the social justice and humanitarian world. And so they support a lot of different causes and a lot of different events. And they supported this award, and we're bringing it back. It's like, it's no better time than with everything that happened in 2020 and what's been going on forever. So it's been moved more to a social justice award. And that used to carry a cash prize of $10,000. And I'm not sure where we're landing on that right now, because we're still, apparently people want to, I love when people want to give. And people want to give. And so, especially to something like that, and like, oh, because it'll go to a person or a film that, exercises some modicum of social justice reform, or just highlights a person who's some sort of hero in that world.
So on that note, people want to give to this social justice movement. Are you seeing now, like, the phone is ringing off the hook with companies that all of a sudden it became a popular thing to give? And are you just like, yeah, we'll take the money if that's where you want us to put it, and we will put it there? Or do you just see this as very disingenuous and temporary? The way I see it is, if a company like, pick a Fortune 100 company that, always said that they were going to do more diversity, they would do more for social justice, they were going to promote, Black women to higher positions in their company, they're going to have more Black and female board members and so on, and maybe haven't. Can you go to them and say, all right, well, thank you for jumping on this right now. To make this feel authentic, how about you do this? We do a 5-year partnership together, 10-year partnership. Like, let's see how you feel in 5 years. I mean, does some of this feel disingenuous?
You know what? I would say sometimes there are people that are looking for this, and then sort of the dirty back end, something you mentioned earlier, but the backstage stuff, like how the sausage is made sometimes. And when you're looking at certain particular corporate sponsors, and they are looking to move into that world. There's a great documentary about this. I think it's on Netflix. I forgot what it's called. And I think it's called Corporation something. And it delves into, it's really funny that, to your point, some corporations are saying all this stuff up front. They're like, oh yeah, we want to put our name on this thing, but what's the actual grass work to do it? No, we just gave these guys $100,000 to set up some program, like, okay, and then they walk away, or they're not there. There's no follow through. It's just a name and a money. So it looks like it's this, look, we're altruistic. A lot of times that happens. I've seen that with some sponsors, that they just want to do that, put their name on it. And we are seeing some of that, some particular monies going towards certain things. And then you have to weigh in, okay, yeah, this is money going towards this particular subject matter, but it's still money going towards this particular subject matter. I mean, at one point there wasn't going here. So then you got to weigh in. Is this where I want to be? Yeah, this is where I want to be. And so, like, we have the last 2 years, our festival was sponsored by Capital One Bank. And that is a big ass organization.
Massive. And the guy in their commercials has massive hands. I don't know what it is, but he's like, walking around the bank, and he's like, Capital One. And I'm like, I can't take my hand. I'm like, my eyes off this guy. This guy's got gigantic hands.
Oh, it's true.
It's distracting.
Yeah. They have so many campaigns. I got lost because we were going through there going, so is this the Jennifer Gardner campaign? Is it the
right? What's in your wallet?
Yeah. Is it the Sam Jackson campaign? Is it this other thing? Yeah. I mean, there's so many different things that they have going out there, but they were Geico, like Geico, exactly, or Progressive. Yeah. Like these companies, they just have all these different. I don't know. So that's their good case in point that they were a good partner. Mm-hmm. They had ideas about what they wanted to do with their money, and that supporting the arts was a big part of that. And then we fell into a lot of different categories, because not only are we an arts organization, we're an education organization. Like I said before, the high schools that we work with, and so they said, well, that's great, we want to get into that, and so they became the sponsor of our high school education program as well. That's and so it's like, okay, Right. So, I mean, again,
this didn't happen in June of 2020. This happened 2 years ago.
this happened 2 years ago, and they stuck
right.
with us through 2020 and through now. As far as I know, as far as I know, we're still working with them at this point. I'm the art guy. There's two other money people that deal with other things. So I just go, I kind of want to do this. No, how about this? Yeah, that works. Okay, cool.
Yeah, we'll go find the funding for that. We like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're crazy? Yeah, no, I'm not crazy. And that's the other thing. So right now, I'm able to say these things like I want to do a social justice thing. I want to do. We've moved in our CEO as a filmmaker, Jonathan Brownlee, and he had a great conversation with somebody just in passing on a Zoom call, I think, or something. And now we've moved into this, which a lot of the festivals and organizations. One of the things we're adding this year is things in dealing with persons of disability in the disability space, and that was a massive idea. And so we're working with these organizations in the state and nationally now to cultivate and curate a program of persons with films involving persons of disability, whether they're behind the camera or in front of the camera. And it's been eye-opening for me to decide because it's not using my world, but I'm learning from these guys. Like, okay, so that guy isn't disabled? No. And so we hate him. Yeah. Okay. So we don't. So rule number one, you don't like people without disabilities in movies playing people with disabilities. Yeah. Got it. That's gonna really narrow everything down.
Yeah. One of the two big networks that does all these holiday films that are, at least one of the networks, it's like 95% very well-to-do white people coming home from the city to the small town they grew up in and falling back in love again. But then they went, one of them, who will not be named here because they're not a sponsor of your festival or our podcast, one of them had a woman in a wheelchair who was a very successful writer. She wrote romance novels, and she of course goes back to the hometown, to the little inn and everything else, but she was in a wheelchair. She was the star of the movie, and it was a big deal that this network was doing this year.
Wow. I missed that one. I don't know which one. I can imagine one of the two networks you're talking about, and my wife and I probably watched at least 13 or 14 different holiday movies.
I would say that was a lot to anybody else except you, because you could do that in a half a day. You're like, 13 films? Come on, bring it on.
Hey man, I'm a big fan of Lacey Chabert and anything she's in currently.
Yeah, Lacey Chabert. It was that network, I believe. It was the Lacey Chabert network, I think, is what it's officially called.
It might as well be.
Or the Candace Cameron.
Candace Cameron. Yep. Yeah. Thank you for her all three names, because people usually forget that there's Beret.
I want to give her proper recognition for bringing that genre back. And of course, one of the networks, since we're both fans of these cheesy holiday movies, one of the networks, the kissing and the making out doesn't happen until the end. So you have sexual tension throughout the movie until the end. The other one, it's like 20 minutes in, they're probably getting drunk, and it's like things are happening, and you're like, okay, I see where this is going. But anyway, that's a whole other festival that we could have. There could be the Dallas cheesy holiday film festival, and I would be all over that.
I've been thinking about it for so long. It's like after watching like this, there's a market for this. This is incredible. That's the thing. There's no hubris for me, at least, in what we try to present at Dallas Film. There's no hubris towards film needs to always be a complete and utter intellectual endeavor that is so highbrow that you might need a degree to watch things. Film should be visceral and engaging, and at times, informative. So one of those type of festivals would be kind of fun, because you know what you're walking into. You're not, it's not you're going, I'm going to see Citizen Kane. No, you're going to see Citizen Chabert.
I would see Citizen Chabert. But on that note, you're going to screen over 200 films this year.
Yeah.
And there was so many hot button topics last year, from social justice to politics to, name it, equity in all sorts of formats.
Yeah.
Is this the kind of content that you'll be looking for the submissions for 2021? Or are you guys laser focused on that to say this is where we need to be right now? We need to stay on this, or do we want to say some of that and some other theme?
No, we are open. Adding in to the disability thing, adding in the social justice marker. We're adding television, episodic television, and we're including web and television in that as well. Streaming content. We could probably get the entire Quibi lineup for free.
Yeah, that didn't work out so well.
Yeah, billions of dollars wasted. I think Netflix is trying to buy them. I don't know.
I saw something. Yeah, I saw something about that. But I imagine you could get through. You personally could get through Quibi's entire catalog in 3 days.
Yeah, our CEO, I think, did that.
You have the stamina for that.
He sit there and goes, I just watched all this stuff on Quibi. I'm like, all of it? All of it. Wow. Okay.
That's why they went out of business. They're like, we have nothing else.
They're 15-minute shows.
We're too efficient.
Oh, God. Yeah. So we're looking at everything to reach that number, adding in the different things. We're increasing our competition category. Usually there are only 7 films. I'm taking it back to 10 or 12. I'm actually going to make that decision at the end of this month if it's going to be 10 or 12 films in each competition, and then adding in a more and more robust music category. We have a music documentary category. We do bands. We set up stages and have people come out. And I'm also going to do, which I'm very excited about, which is a pet project of mine for years. I live in a city where sports are king, and we've added a new section called Game On.
Okay.
And so it's a sports section, and it's getting some traction. I got people reaching out to me like, hey, I got this movie. I go, that works. Hey, and there were movies in the past that I've seen that I would think, that's a really good doc, but it's not going to beat out these other docs. I only have this space. And it's about, there was a really good hockey documentary I saw last year about these kids that go from America to like the Ukraine to go to Spain to this hockey team. And it's like, that's really interesting and cool, but I don't have room for that. I really would like to. And so now I'm starting a section where I'm these stories that I may not have been able to fit, ESPN 30 for 30s, all these things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We were going to do the Be-Water in 2020, the documentary about Bruce Lee. And I'd bought this whole Game of Death outfit I was going to get out. I had to return it on Amazon. I'm like, dang gummit, this is stupid. I was ready for it. And so that kicked off. So we have a relationship there. So sports are going to lean into that. So these are the things that are going to help us just get over that hump. And our international is always going to be the same. I just got an email. Somebody just sent me 5 movies to watch from some German company. Like, hey, you should watch these. I'm like, okay.
With subtitles, hopefully, or can you speak German?
I do not speak German. Don't let the last name fool you. I do speak a little Russian. Sure. But I speak very little anything else, Spanish enough to order food, French enough to get away from the police. And, but yeah, I took Russian for 2.5 years in college because I thought I was going to be a Russian MTV journalist, but that didn't work out.
I like the niche though. You're like, I'm not just going to be an MTV journalist. I'm going to do it in Russia.
Yeah.
And how are they going to say no to me?
Exactly. You saw what I was pointing. I was like, there's no way I can lose this fight. I speak Russian. I'm black. I can walk in here. They're going to go, I don't know what to do with this guy, but put him on TV. You scare people.
They look at your resume and they're like, so what other black Russian speaking candidates do we have? We weren't even looking for one. Wow. That's amazing. Because we have one. And I think he is going to get the job.
Yeah, it didn't work out.
So let's just stay with the sports for a second.
Sure.
Texas Tech and SMU.
Yeah.
I have a bone to pick with you. How do you go Texas Tech, SMU, and then the Raiders? How does that become your team?
Okay. That was a misprint.
Misprint?
Yeah. It was a misprint. I was looking at that going, that needs to be removed. It should be the Red Raiders of Texas Tech, but somehow they put Raiders on there. I'm not a Raiders fan.
I saw that. And I was like, I should have thought immediately that he probably means the Red Raiders, but he's
but
all about the Raiders.
It's funny. That happened to me twice. Ironically, I kind of was a Raiders fan for a bit, but my football allegiances, and this is crazy because I'm here in Texas. My wife is a big Cowboys fan. I'm a Niners fan and a Chiefs fan.
It's probably, I was going to let you off the hook because I was going to say kids I grew up with in New Jersey and New York and Long Island. We grew up in the 70s and 80s, and they became Steelers fans, 49ers fans, Cowboys fans.
Mm-hmm.
And Cowboys, they decided to take that Thanksgiving game, right? So they're like, hey, we're going to be the only game on. And that's how they became America's team in the 70s, right? I mean, that's,
yeah,
so
no,
I can see how the Raider, I could see how the Oakland / LA / Las Vegas and whatever city they'll be in next, Raiders. I could see how you could have been corrupted by national television showing their games, Jim Plunkett and so on.
Yeah, no, never really dove really into the Raiders. That was just a misprint, and I'm going to change that today because you're the third person to bring that up. I'm like, you know what? The bio's wrong.
People are just hating you on Twitter. They're like, Raiders suck. You're like, what? Why? Where's this?
Like, I don't get it. No, they got a good stadium in Vegas. That's pretty cool.
They do. I want, when we can get back to doing all this stuff we want to do, making a pilgrimage. It's kind of a lame pilgrimage, but I'm gonna go. I got to see a game out there. It's way too fun.
Yeah, and it's Vegas.
And it's Vegas, right? So people are like, well, what about if gambling becomes legal? Sports gambling becomes legal in every state. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can have gambling legal in New York City. People are still going to get on a plane to go to. I've been to Vegas for March Madness. It's just one of the most fun. Man, people losing their minds and probably their houses on these games, and you can just see the look on somebody's face when it's like, they've got Syracuse at the half, winning by 3, and the 16 seed comes down and shoots a half quarter at half, and it goes in, and the guy's just like, or it's like they had him by 4, or whatever. It's like, oh no! One hand in the air is, we're gonna cover, and then it's like, no! And they're screaming. I've seen people that have scored it out, like in the arm bar, and I was like, I think that guy just lost his house. It's a home.
They're going to his hotel room to take his watches. The best film festival, my favorite film festival in the world outside of my own is the Toronto Film Festival. But before that, it was called Cine Vegas. It ran for around 7 years in Vegas at the Palms Hotel.
Okay.
The Maloof brothers, I think, were Maloof brothers were involved in it. And Dennis Hopper was the sort of the patron saint, like Robert Redford is Tribeca. Robert Redford is Sundance. Robert De Niro is Tribeca, and Dennis Hopper was Cine Vegas, and that was the most decadent, fun, crazy, artistic party. Just, I remember going to see this really cool film from the Duplass brothers. And then walking out, and you had to walk by in the lobby past machines and a McDonald's. And at the McDonald's, I stood waiting. I'm gonna get a drink. I stood behind Danny Trejo and Dennis Hopper getting food at McDonald's in the Palms Hotel. I'm going, I bet you guys can get better food than this. I just don't see how this is. But we're all sitting there thinking, this is the best festival of all time. I just saw a great independent film. And I'm standing in the McDonald's line with the dude, with Danny Trejo, who could probably just turn around and machete me really fast. So
I was going to say, imagine he's asking them for extra sauce for his nuggets, and they're like, "No, extra sauce is 25 cents," and he's like, "I don't think you want to say that again to me." Okay, here's some honey mustard.
And then you have Dennis Hopper going, "No, man, let me tell you what's going to happen here, man. This is
I got a coupon, man.
Just make this go. It's
we
good.
Get a free Big Mac. I'm telling you."
Yeah, inside story. They're both short.
Okay. The Apple box was invented for a reason, I believe in these.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Yeah, and I'll have to work on my Dennis Hopper. It was very, very poor.
Me too.
And I won't even do a De Niro because it's a caricature of a caricature at this point.
Yeah, just stay angry and then you got it. And never open your eyes.
Not bad. Okay, there it is. Slipped into it anyway.
There it is.
So back to the business of your festival and Dallas International Film Festival. 2021, you had Capital One with you guys for a while here, and what is, with so many cutbacks, changes, and so on, how are you going to be able to argue that your festival deserves the sponsorship so that you can continue to give out these prizes and so on this year?
Frankly, I think sponsorship is going to be less because people are waiting.
Okay.
They're thinking, all right, what's the landscape? And then a lot's going to depend on vaccinations moving forward. I think if we, as an organization, we pitch that we're moving forward no matter what, and we think we can do good things, and these are the good things that we're trying to do. I just beating the dead horse in a way, just like, look, the social justice, the disability, the sports thing. These are the things that we feel we can do, that people are going to be looking for something to do, especially in the summer when we are feeling that the world's going to be in a better place. And so be a part of this ride, because there are going to be a lot of people running around. I mean, travel, I think, is going to be kicking up. And then people are going to be like, I need to do something with my kids. They're at home again in the summertime. Like, oh, shoot, send them to this thing. I mean, we're going to have a huge family section this year because we're going to be in the summer. There'll be summer movies. There could be, I also run a podcast. I'm on another podcast, and it's a bunch of film distributors and film exhibitors on the cast. And we talk about the state of the business. And one of the things that we were lamenting and being nervous about is there's enough films that were canceled from last year that were postponed to do what's called a tentpole, like your Avengers type movies, every week for 42 weeks.
Incredible.
You could do a different major motion picture, successful series franchise for 42 weeks every week, starting last week.
So the backlog in Hollywood with the 100 million plus budget films is they got about a year of inventory to get out there right now.
Correct. And so that trickles down to film festivals, big and large. Like, look, we have a lot of stuff and a lot of product to get out there. And film festivals can be marketing tools for other films, or indie with a big eye, small indie streaming. And so, like, look, we need to have somebody see our work. And so now we become very important to them. Like, here's going to be this great movie with this amazing cast that was going to get this really big release before, but now they just need to get it out because they have some obligations contractually to the studios and to the talent. And so we need to get more than just our usual get lost in media by world. Here's a film festival that has an opportunity with a built-in audience to get, here's one screening. Oh, cool. That's cool. And all of a sudden there's laurels on it. And then the rest is history.
Yeah. So if sponsorship is down, what would be the best source of revenue to keep this going this year?
Honestly, we just trickled down the festival. Like, we may still find a way, so there may be less in person, which is more expensive, and things move online.
Okay.
I mean, so size-wise, we're going to do our best to, regardless, the financials are there, but regardless of what that is, we are making a commitment to X amount of films. And so if that means more of those are online, then that's true, and then lesser in theaters, then that's just going to happen. But for us, it is providing the edutainment to the masses and to our local. That's our goal.
So even if revenue is down, sponsor wise and ticket sale wise, expenses are also down.
Yeah.
To produce all those events on site, so it might even work out a little better. You never know. Yeah.
No, I mean, some of the sad stuff out there is that there's a lot of things that shuttered. That give us an opportunity to maybe, rent something that we couldn't rent before. Oh, look, that place is open. That's sad. We used to pay this much. Now we only have to pay X amount of dollars to get in here because that building is owned by a landlord who wants to make something. And it's a sad way of doing business. But at the same time, we're looking at exposing filmmakers and people that are in productions that need the work. The more films I always say, the more films you show, the more films people can make. And the more people go to work on these films. So let's just keep this cycle going. Let's just keep going.
Your festival creates jobs, creates revenue for the city, and so on. It is trickle down, trickle up, both directions.
We have an economic impact to Dallas. We do.
Besides like small theaters or small restaurants or those type of things that are sadly closing, some festivals just can't survive. Have anybody, and you don't have to name them by name, but has anyone come to you for acquisition to say, hey, we were sort of at the same time of year as you guys, maybe you become our parent or you just take us over?
No. That's funny. And I won't name any names. Not now, but in the past, yes.
Okay.
That has happened in the past because we had this reputation for being this big thing that came in and like, oh, we're still working with everybody, but we just seem to get more press. It's because I'm not saying we worked any harder. It's just we were shiny and new. And so there was this reputation where, well, they're going to do this. So that attitude of maybe an umbrella festival with having all these other niche things, that's come up a few times. The problem there is the sort of legality of it, and I call it the ego of it all as well.
Okay.
Because if I started a film festival and it's not doing well, I mean, the humility I have to, exude to go and say, hey man, hat in hand, this isn't working. I can't do this anymore. Do you want to just pull it under here? And they go, cool. Yeah, but I still want to get paid somehow. So how do we make this happen? So then you're going through a contract negotiation and trying to figure out how do we make this work for both parties and still, not be liable for whatever damages or whatever things you have that we're taking on debt from something else. So it becomes a real tricky thing. It seemed easy. It's a grand idea and really neat, but the logistics of it are pretty heavy.
It's incredible. And so there are these juggernauts out there. There's Sundance, there's Toronto, there's Cannes or Cannes, whatever. How do we say it right?
I'm a Cannes guy.
You're a Cannes guy.
I've been there multiple times. Like you're saying Cannes, but this Greek French lady in the restaurant around the corner is saying Cannes. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So you know enough French to get out of trouble with the police and how to work your way around a film festival.
Yeah.
On the French Riviera as well. So that's it. You've done plenty. I like it.
Yeah. Wait.
But these festivals, these are juggernauts. Now I know you talked about how many submissions you have, which is just mind blowing. But how do you compete with those juggernauts for like the creme de la creme of festivals? Speaking of, there's my French right there.
Yeah. Well, you don't
for those top films.
You don't. You make a in my head, the hierarchy in North America is going to be Sundance, Toronto, South by Southwest, Tribeca, AFI Fest. Those are the festivals that get the big world premiere, brand new. Sundance the most. So probably Sundance will get the most big indies that you'll see Oscar season. Toronto will get the big everything, just everything. And South by is the same way as South Sundance. It's like, oh well, we're gonna have these other cool things that might be around the Oscar season, but they're really cool because we're South by and it's DIY and everything. And AFI Fest is also an Oscar qualifying situation, so there'll be a lot of those. They're in LA, and so our senior programmer who came up with me from the Deep Ellum Film Festival as an intern, she's now the director of programming for AFI Fest.
Wow. And
Sarah Harris, I've never been prouder. She's like my sister. I've known her since she was literally, I guess, senior in college. Yeah, we both went to SMU. And she's about 10 years younger than me, but yeah,
who's counting?
But yeah, she's now that, then we talk, I go, so how is it up there? She goes, it's really cool. You can walk, down the street and into a studio office. It's kind of like, and then talk to Disney about this movie that they have on the lower end. Like that's great. And so they're going to get those. The rest of us in the middle of the country, the great festivals, Cleveland, Seattle, Dallas, Atlanta, all these other places, Austin Film Festival, the same city as South by, which is funny, but we get good films, but we're not in line to get that studio world premiere or that big film first. We'll get that film next. We're the next destination. And that's fine because we have discovery here too. We have a Texas section. We have midnight stuff, but all these other things that we have discovery on as well that might get missed by them. Or, they're getting 10,000 submissions at Sundance, some 10 or 12. They can't show everything.
Yeah.
Really good things that just go, we didn't get in. What do we do? We're going to wait till Cannes. Like, are you? You didn't get into Sundance. I don't know about Cannes. Like, yeah, you're right. Well, what are we going to do? Dallas is out there. They're a big market. Cleveland, that's the middle of the country. They're Oscar qualifying. Atlanta, Seattle. So that's where we fall in. And we'll get those films. Sundance, I've been to, 16 Sundances. And I probably pulled anywhere from 6 to 15 films, shorts and features that play there first, and then we get it after they get it. So I love a world premiere, I'm not going to bust my ass trying to woo a studio into thinking that you have to play us over Sundance, because the reality of it is that just be stupid on their part. And it's just, I'll be real frank. Like, I love my festival, but if you can get into Sundance or Tribeca, one of those things, actually, I'd say, yeah, I'd say Sundance here, and Tribeca is really cool in the New York side of things, but it's, when you play the world premiere game, which Sundance is kind of backed out a little bit, it's tough because you kind of water down the market. Okay. If you're saying you can only be a world premiere, then if 260 films played Sundance, then you have to find another bunch of movies. And if 100 and some odd films played at South by Southwest, and you have to find, like, that's just going to dilute the product at one point.
I want to just finish up with just finding out what you've been doing. I always call this section COVID Confidential. Just one quick question for you. During the lockdown, obviously, people found out they have special talents, that they could make sourdough bread. I like to cook, but I was not a bread guy. I don't really bake that much. Or they, maybe they decided to start something new. But I know you like to, and this is a quote, rock and watch movies, and not in that order. But how did you rock out during the lockout or lockdown, if you will?
It's funny.
Did you learn a new instrument?
I tried. I got a guitar.
Your French?
Yeah, I improved my French. I learned that I'm pretty damn good at video game basketball.
Which game, particularly?
NBA 2K20. Just got 21. I hadn't played it yet. It's going to be a treat for when I finish watching some movies this week.
My video games kind of ended. My sports video games sort of ended at double dribble.
Oh man,
it's been a while.
It's a little. Oh, that was good. I used to love that game.
He's heating up.
Yep, I was always Barkley.
Yeah, because he could knock everybody out of the way.
Exactly, he's just a chunk. But I have a guitar, and I spent a lot of time cleaning it and tuning it. I wanted to learn a couple more chords this summer. It did not happen. If there's any skill I learned more, I wish I'd get the guitar. It was technical on the interworkings of projection equipment for outdoor. I know so much about, I could set up a movie theater right now that I couldn't set up before, outside, inside, or probably at a space station, or even, on a passing asteroid if I needed to.
You're a niche guy, so I would think space station, asteroid, that would be your thing. Again, they get the application for that. They're like, we weren't even looking for this guy, but we'll hire him.
I would like to build a movie theater on the moon. That would be really nice.
There's a lot of real estate there, so I feel like it's fine a spot.
It's all, but China's annexed most of it, so it's all good.
So you said you got the guitar, you brushed off the dust.
Brushed off the dust on the guitar, and I literally hit that one chord. I think it's G. And I clean it and I tune it a lot, because tuning makes you feel like you're doing something. And I have some programs. I don't have an actual teacher other than trying to do it by ear. My wife can play piano a little bit and the flute. She's really good at those things. And her mom is a pianist, and I have no music talent whatsoever. But there's another video game that I used to take lessons on, and it's I forgot what it's called because I hadn't played it in so long. It's just lessons all day, and 20 minutes a day, and you can play a blues riff if you do 20 minutes a day for 30 days.
Wow!
And you could, I'm thinking really, and
then you could be playing in Deep Elm.
Yeah, on the corner, because
throw a bucket out there, and
Yeah, so
like, it could be a backup career.
Yes, it might have to be.
So how do we find out more about Dallas Film? DIF? Can I call it DIF? Does anyone call it?
DIF. Yeah, everybody calls it DIF.
All right.
Film is, I'll get my t-shirt. Film is bigger in Texas.
Film is bigger in Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas.
Yeah.
Film definitely is. How do we find out more about DIF and about you going forward?
You can check us out. DallasFilm.org is our website. We've got a virtual cinema set up there, so you can actually watch movies on our web. You can click through and rent movies on our website of indie films that are coming out. And you can find out more information about what we're doing, selling passes. We actually have a deadline. I'm not sure when you're going to air this, but our deadline is today. So we're entering films for the first deadline, and we have more coming up March and then again in April for the next 2 deadlines. But yeah, DallasFilm.org. You can check us out on Facebook. We are Dallas Film on Instagram. And me, I mean, that's where I am too. We are Dallas Film. We do some movie reviews, and we're doing screenings of films virtually for our members. You can sign up for membership. We're sharing a movie today. God, I forgot what it was called, but you can sign up and find out, and you get to see it for free with interviews with the cast and crew of the film. So that's all at our website, DallasFilm.org. You can sign up for our information. And me personally, you can also check out my podcast, At the Movies.
Okay, I was going to say, you can promote your podcast here on these. While we were promoting At the Movies.
Yeah, At the Movie, and it's the at symbol. And because I had to tell my crew, like, hey guys, we can't be at the movies because At the Movies existed. Oh, really? Yeah, you guys are way too young. Yes, At the Movies existed. So we are at symbol movies, and we discuss current topics in the film industry, upcoming films, and the state of theatrics, theaters and theatrics right now. And it can be gloom, but we make it fun. Because we eviscerated Wonder Woman on the last recording, so hopefully, yeah, because Wonder Woman 84 is
great. I'll watch it though.
You should watch it and drink.
Okay, I will drink and watch it probably in that order. I will rock, and then I will watch it in that order.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, we've told enough stories to perhaps write our own screenplay, which of course we will submit to Dallas International Film Festival next year because we've missed the submission for this year, but we'll send it in next year.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends of festivalPass Stories, he is James Faust, and we will see you at the movies. No, we will not. We'll see you next time. We'll see you next time on festivalPass Stories. James, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Pat.
This is festivalPass Stories, a podcast series is told by the people who create and make festivals come to life. You will go behind the stage, kitchen, or studio door to hear the stories of passion and inspiration that started some of the world's most beloved festivals. Hear the startup stories and how an idea went from what if to what's next.